is going on, guys? Sports Profits. We are back talking Week 9 NFL lines. Definitely an interesting week that we have had for us. Obviously, breaking news. Probably biggest heartfelt story of the year is the young rookie Deshaun Watson tearing his ACL in practice, non-contact injury. Unfortunately, my heart hit the ground when I saw that headline. Devastated for the guy. Definitely was a sure shot for Rookie of the Year. Not much you can do. I mean, that's just the way the game is, I guess. But that's definitely going to take a huge hit to the Houston Texans, a team that was way better than what their record reflected, and a team that actually made that AFC South division extremely competitive for this season. Obviously, a lot going on with the trade deadline as well. A couple headline trades that went through was Kelvin Benjamin to the Bills for a couple picks, 3rd and 7th rounder, I believe. I know a couple Carolina people I was talking to were very unhappy with that. Just they feel like they didn't maximize the value for that trade. But one thing that I see coming out of Carolina is their season where they went 15-1. Kelvin Benjamin was absent, so we'll see. Maybe that might be good. That might help them out because they definitely have some speedy receivers, and Kelvin Benjamin is definitely not a speedy receiver. He's just the big guy. Jay Ajayi to the Eagles for a couple picks as well. A couple of my Dolphin insiders. No comment on it. Nothing. Didn't mind it. A lot of people have been saying he's got some knee problems. His knees are giving out on him, and that may be why they traded him away. But for the short term, I would say, the Eagles are looking pretty good now. That was definitely a good addition for them. And then obviously, Patriots at one point had one QB on their roster. That was Tom Brady after they traded away Jacoby Brissett earlier in the season. And they traded away Jimmy Garoppolo to the 49ers. Obviously, San Francisco is getting a great quarterback there. They're getting a good quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo had his role as a starter for a few times, and he stepped up, and he got the job done in a couple games. I think he won 4 games as a starter for the Patriots. It's awesome stuff. It's good to see him finally get his chance. Hopefully he does get a chance to start the season. I know the 49ers were shying away from saying anything about that, but I hope he ends up getting the nod. And then, of course, the comical trade that did not go through was the Bengals trying to trade A.J. McCarron to the Browns, and they thought the trade went through, and the Browns are all celebrating like a bunch of dumbasses and forget to tell the NFL to confirm the trade. And NFL shut that shit down immediately and said no. So A.J. McCarron probably wiped away some sweat off his forehead after that one. Definitely didn't want to ruin his already not great career in Cleveland. Okay. Thursday night game. Everybody thought that Buffalo was serious. Everybody thought Buffalo was a serious playoff contender. I'm not saying that they're not anymore, but they thought they were a huge playoff contender, especially with the addition of Kelvin Benjamin. Kelvin Benjamin obviously was inactive for the game, considering he probably spent a day and a half in Buffalo, probably 1 day at practice. Definitely understandable. But the Jets put a whooping on the Bills. I mean, they brought the house, man. They were running through Buffalo's O-line like it was nothing and getting some pressure on Tyrod Taylor, and it was an ugly game. Honestly, I stopped watching the game after the third quarter. It was probably one of the worst football games I watched. But yeah, that was definitely a weird one, but it'll be interesting to see how the Bills bounce back after that one. that'll be an interesting one to see if the Bills, with this addition and LaShawn McCoy playing well, see if they can actually make a run, maybe a wild card spot. All right, first game I got on my slate here is the Broncos heading to the best team in the NFL at the moment, the Philadelphia Eagles. Broncos heading to the Link. Philadelphia is the 8-point favorite in this one. Now, I'm going Philly on the straight-up win, and I think they're going to cover. And Philly is first. I believe they're still first in time of possession, which I think is huge. They take their time while they have the ball, and this is definitely a defense where you want to take your time and not make a lot of mistakes. Carson Wentz has been pretty careful with his decision-making so far, and I think that's going to be a huge factor in this game. And on the other side, we got Denver. Offense is non-existent besides the run game for the most part. And they're sitting Trevor Siemian and giving Brock Osweiler the nod to start. This man, Brock Osweiler, has finessed his way around this league to make an absurd amount of money and still end up on the same team he was on 2 years ago. So he is getting the start. I've never been impressed with him. I don't think he's good. I think he has a douchey name. Brock. Fuck. What the hell kind of name is Brock? Such a douche name. But I think I think Philadelphia is gonna put some pressure on him. Gonna bring the house. I think Fletcher Cox is gonna be a huge factor in this game. It's just gonna be a tough game for Denver. And if Philly ends up winning this game, which I'm very confident they will, it's gonna look good for them. They're gonna be heading into their bye week 8-1. That's pretty. It's pretty crazy. 8-1, best team in the NFL. They'll be looking pretty. Get a well-earned week's rest, and see how they come out after that bye week. So Philadelphia straight up, and with the 8-point spread on that one. All right, next game we got the Rams coming off their bye week and the Giants coming off their bye week. They're playing at MetLife Stadium, and the Rams are 3.5-point favorites. I am going to go Rams money line and spread. The Rams have had a really good offense this year so far. Jared Goff has significantly improved compared to last year. A couple additions as well with Sammy Watkins and Cooper Kupp. Definitely help add some weapons to the passing game for Jared Goff. And then obviously Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley is a stud running back. He's been having a great season so far, and he's also a very good pass catcher as well. So that's definitely something to look out for there. But for those reasons, and Eli Manning's been really shaky. They have no receivers thus far. Just Evan Ingram has been the guy to kind of step up and take the role as the pass catcher. Sterling Shepard has been banged up. I think he's still questionable heading into this game. He's been banged up for like 3 weeks now, so that's obviously not a good sign for them. And the Giants' defense has been a disappointment thus far, except for I think it was the game against Denver where they actually looked like the defense that they paid all this money for. But I think LA definitely, the Rams are obviously a much better offense than Denver, and I think they will get the job done. And I'm seeing them winning by 7 points in this one, maybe even more. But I'm liking the Rams on this one, straight up, and on the 3.5-point favorite. All right, next game we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Very, very off season, very, very bad season so far, against the surprisingly good New Orleans Saints. Now, it is in New Orleans, and New Orleans is 7-point favorites in this one. New Orleans is leading the division, so this is a very, very important game for them, especially with Carolina on their tail, and Carolina has a very important game this weekend as well, but we will make our way to that one. So I'm going New Orleans on the money line and the 7-point favorite. Now, New Orleans has been playing, obviously they've been a great offensive team. Drew Brees, ageless wonder, still able to sling the ball like no tomorrow. Has plenty of weapons. Mark Ingram playing phenomenal football as well as Kamara, I believe, Kamar, playing. Those are two really good running backs that they got there in New Orleans, and they're getting the job done. And earlier in the season, New Orleans was one of the worst defenses in the league, but the Saints' pass defense over the past 5 weeks has actually put up some incredible numbers that when I saw this, I couldn't believe it myself. Over the past 5 weeks, they've allowed 158 yards per game passing, and that's the best in the NFL. They've only allowed 3 passing touchdowns, and they've had 9 interceptions. That's crazy. That is some freaking phenomenal football. New Orleans is the 6th-ranked offense. So, Tampa Bay, they got Jameis back there. Weak O-line. I think they're just gonna. They're gonna be picking Jameis all game, man. I think Jameis is gonna make a lot of bad throws, especially because he still has that lingering injury. I think Jameis is definitely going to throw 2 picks in this game. I could see that happening. And New Orleans is going to, for sure, win this game. Next game we got is the Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville is the 4.5-point favorite in this one. AFC South has actually been pretty competitive thus far. They are leading the division, same amount of wins as the Tennessee Titans, but the Tennessee Titans are coming off their bye. So Jacksonville, I'm going with them on the win and on the spread. I'm taking them as the favorites, and the reason why is Jacksonville needs this game. They need this game to stay pace in the AFC South. They have a legitimate shot at winning this division this year. Preseason, if you told me Jacksonville was potentially going to win the AFC South, I probably would have laughed in your face. I'm not going to lie. I thought they were a dog shit team. But this defense has been playing some of the best. It's the best defense in the league, without a doubt. They have the Jalen Ramsey, Go Knowles secondary back there. They have a freaking phenomenal secondary. And that front seven just is a freaking beast. Yeah, I think they're just going to make a fool out of Andy Dalton in this one, the Red Rifle. And it'll be all Jacksonville in this one. I believe Leonard Fournette will be returning as well. So that is a huge addition for the Jaguars. Leonard Fournette was actually, that injury was quite scary because that would have been pretty sad to see another star go down like that. But glad he'll be back, hopefully, and running the ball just as well as he was before he took a few weeks off due to injury. All right. And the next game we got, in my opinion, the biggest game of the week, must-watch game, super competitive. Both of these teams, it's a must-win. So it's the Atlanta Falcons heading into Charlotte, North Carolina, playing the Panthers. We got Carolina as a 1.5-point favorite in this one. I'm going to be honest. Originally, my pick was Atlanta. But as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm definitely going Carolina here. And the reason why. Carolina has, it's a must-win for them, and I think they're the better football team. Their defense has been playing very great, and I think they're going to be able to change the pace of this offense without Kelvin Benjamin now. They're a fast-paced offense. When Cam Newton gets running in that no huddle, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They just need to get the Falcons to play. If the Falcons start playing press coverage on those receivers, actually the Falcons used to. When you got Kelvin Benjamin on the other line, you're going to play press coverage on him because you know he's not going to run past you. And they had to slow down the offense to the pace of Kelvin Benjamin. Now that they got rid of Kelvin Benjamin, or they traded Kelvin Benjamin, they have these fast receivers, and they're going to, whether the DBs play press offense or they play 5 or 10 yards back, these receivers are going to be able to hopefully burn the DBs, and they're going to get open a lot. And there's going to be a lot more big plays down the field. I think this is going to be a very good game. Obviously, it's a must-win. Carolina has to win this game, considering that I got New Orleans. I got Tampa Bay guaranteed to lose this week, so New Orleans is getting a win this week. Carolina needs a win to stay in pace in that division with the Saints. And so does Atlanta. It'll be a very, very competitive game, but I'm going Carolina as the favorites by 1.5. I think they'll win by field goal at the minimum. All right, another AFC showdown. AFC South showdown. We got the Colts at Houston. Earlier in the week, I took my notes earlier in the week, and Houston was 13-point favorites. I'm not sure what that's at now. Let me just check really quick. And we got Houston is the 7-point favorites now instead of the 13. Obviously, this has changed due to the huge detrimental loss of Deshaun Watson. I do not think Tom Savage is a good QB. I think the value of DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller are going to drop substantially. They are only good with Deshaun Watson. So, with that being said, I mean, Indianapolis has not been a good team either. But I think they have the better quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. So, with that being said, I'm going to go surprisingly with the Colts here as the underdog favorite at +7. So we'll see how that one turns out. Obviously, with the injury of Deshaun Watson, I was picking Houston prior to that. Thankfully, I didn't put anything down because I would have been extremely upset with the locked 13-point favorite, but I'm staying away from this game personally. I just do not like it with just these quarterbacks, especially Tom Savage. It'll be an interesting game, Houston's season is pretty much done for, unfortunately. All right, next game we got the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans are tied for the lead in the AFC South. Coming off a bye week, Tennessee needs a win to stay at top of the division. Especially since I have Jacksonville, I think Jacksonville is going to win the game. They need to keep up with Jacksonville. So I'm going Tennessee here on the spread and on the straight up. Tennessee is 3.5-point favorites. I think they'll be able to cover that. Not really much to that, except that Tennessee just needs this win very, very badly. Next game I got for you guys, we got the Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers. Heading to the West Coast divisional matchup. A lot of divisional matchups now that we're in the heart of the season. What do we got? Arizona's favorite at 2 points. It'll be interesting to see how Adrian Peterson plays. Hopefully they'll be able to get something going on the ground game, which I think they will against the 49ers. I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals on this one. Straight up and on the spread at -2. I think they'll be able to cover that. I don't think that'll be a big issue. And, Yeah, I'm staying away from this game as well. This one's just weird for me. I don't know enough about either of these teams. Except I don't think I've watched the Cardinals play a single game this season. I think I've watched San Francisco play one game when they played in quite possibly the best Thursday night football game of all time when they played with the Rams. So in my opinion, we're gonna stay away. All right, next game we got the Redskins heading into the red hot Seattle Seahawks. Seattle, probably the toughest stadium to play in the NFL. Seattle is the 7.5-point favorite in this one. Russell Wilson is playing like Russell Wilson again. Through for that game last week, the Houston-Seattle game was one of the best football games all year. And we saw how well he played. Obviously got a game-winning drive. I think they scored that freaking game-winning drive in like 4 plays, something ridiculous like that. He played so well. I think he's going to continue this trend. And that they are going to breeze to a victory, especially with this playing at home. Playing at home automatically gives them a minimum of a 3-point favorite in that one. Definitely the toughest place to play in the NFL. So I'm going Seattle straight up and on the spread at 7.5. Next game we got is the Kansas City Chiefs coming off a win against Dallas Cowboys where Zeke is playing, Zeke is not playing, Zeke is playing, Zeke is not playing. Zeke appeals to the 9,000th court. Judge denies. Appeals to another fucking court. Judge approved. Now he's playing. So it's a load of shit. It's a bunch of crap. I say just get this shit done with and suspend him or don't suspend him. But it's really annoying seeing this pop up all the time. But obviously they're playing in Dallas. We'll see. Both defenses have been pretty mediocre, I guess. Last week against Denver, Kansas City's defense kind of stepped it up. They had a couple turnovers, but I wouldn't say it was anything significant because they were picking off Trevor Siemian, and he obviously is being benched this week, so that should say how that goes. It'll be interesting. I think that Dallas obviously is going to run the ground game, and so will Kansas City. Both of them have phenomenal running backs, but when it comes to passing the ball, I think Kansas City has the best. I think Kansas City has the better quarterback and the better receivers, obviously, in Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, who are both phenomenal. Travis Kelce, in my opinion, best route running tight end in the league, and I would say he's the best tight end in the league. Dude has been lights out. Dude's one of the most exciting players to watch. I love watching the Chiefs just to watch that man play, and just that little foursome right there with Alex Smith, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Kareem Hunt. I think those are some really fun players to watch. But with that being said, I'm taking Kansas City on the money line and on the spread. I didn't have a spread for this game because there's some injuries and they hadn't released anything. But regardless of the spread number, I'm taking Kansas City. I think they're definitely the serious contender of the AFC, and they're definitely going to win that division with ease. We'll see. The only thing standing in the Chiefs' way of making it to the Super Bowl is their kryptonite, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Always seem to lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers, regardless of the situations. It's usually ugly games, not very good games. And the line is -2 for Dallas. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm taking Kansas City on the underdog on that all day. I think they're going to be able to get a win there. I think they'll take care of business down there in Dallas. Next game we got Oakland heading into Miami. Beats me why this is Sunday Night Football. Completely out of division. Both teams are pretty average to mediocre. This kind of upsets me that this is Monday night. Or Sunday Night Football, I'm sorry. I think Atlanta, Carolina should be a Sunday night game, but oh well. I'm not the one who makes the schedule. Oakland's 3.5 point favorite, or 3 points favorites, I'm sorry. And I'm going with Oakland here. Miami's not good. They're just not. They got absolutely crushed by the Baltimore Ravens, shutout 40-0. So I'm just going to follow the trend here and take Oakland straight up and on the spread. All right, next game we got the Detroit Lions going to Lambeau Field. This will be one of the first good looks at least everybody will get their first good look at Brett Hundley primetime game. Everybody's going to be watching. And the Lions are a better team than what their record reflects. They've had a rough go at it. Their defense is middle of the pack, and I think Matthew Stafford is an underrated quarterback. I think he doesn't get enough love. Lambeau Field, obviously another tough stadium to play at, but I think Detroit is going to march into Lambeau, and I think they're going to be able to get the job done. 2.5 point favorites. I think they'll win by a field goal at minimum, covering the spread in that one. We'll see. I'm thinking something like a 24-27 type game. Nothing serious there. But yeah, it'll be an interesting game. I think we have a decent week lined up for us. Obviously, it beats me why some of the best teams in the league are on bye, like the Vikings. At the same time, like the Vikings, the Patriots, the Steelers, beats the hell out of me. Once again, I don't make scheduling. If I do, I would do a much better job than whoever makes fucking schedules for the NFL. But what do I got going on? My lock for this week, if anybody cares, it's the Rams at -3.5. I think they'll be able to take care of the Giants. And if I had to sprinkle in another lock, I would do the. Which one was I looking at? There's one in here that I really liked. Oh, I gotta go with my boys over in Kansas City. Give them the lock there. Give them the underdog upset. With the +2 spread. I think they're gonna. I hope they do work in Dallas. I love watching them play. Obviously, that's all I got for you guys this week. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at sports_profits. As always, subscribe to our channel as well. We will be dropping some basketball podcasts here soon with our boy Stephen Livingston. We love our hometown Magic, and it'll be obviously they're off to a hot start, but we'll see. As always, be on the lookout for our podcast. We drop tweets about our favorite lineups of the week and some college football spreads as well. I know we had one of our prophets call the Ohio State Iowa game down to a T. Had that perfectly pinned out, and hopefully we can increase your guys' bank accounts. And once again, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as always, thank you to Barcode Suppliers for making this possible. Good luck with your Week 9 betting. Hopefully we increase your bank accounts, and we look forward to having you guys back next week for Week 10 NFL lines. All right, you guys have a great night.